As you are probably aware, this is Iryna Zaruska. She was murdered on a light rail by a deranged lunatic who was basically just wasn't arrested. Was arrested and given, hey, promise you'll come back and whatever. Anyway, this whole video is probably one of the most heartbreaking, absolutely gut wrenching pieces of video I have ever seen in my entire life. I just, every time I watch it, I just absolutely ache watching this poor girl have her life just snuffed out. My brother and I were chatting last night. Shout out to Zinloff. And we were chatting about just life, the universe, and everything, the state of the United States, and all that. And we were chatting about this. We're talking about this poor girl and all the stuff that happened. And he pointed out something to me, that in his area where he lives, there was a guy that was arrested and brought before the judge, and the judge asked, hey, do you have a lawyer? Lawyer said, and the person said, no, I don't have a lawyer, I can't afford one. And the judge is like, all right, well, we don't have any public defenders, so your case is basically dismissed because there's no public defenders. And in the United States of America, you are entitled to a fair trial. Well, if you, the defendant, don't have a lawyer to represent you, you can't have a fair trial. So the judge just says, case dismissed, you're free to go. And so that's the thing that got me the old noggin jogging. And I was like, I remember something about public defenders here in Alberta. And so the hoop-de-doo here in Alberta was that there was a public defenders were making around $250, which for a lawyer is about middle of the range, middle to low end of the spectrum for a lawyer. So it's not stupendous, but it's pretty reasonable, all things considered. My brother, when he was had to get a lawyer, that's around what he was being charged for legal fees. And that's just talking to the lawyer and picking their brain and getting all the legal advice. That's not any of the extra things like investigators or paralegals or contractor, anything like that. That's all extra. This is just talking with the lawyer. So $250 is pretty reasonable. Well, here in Alberta, they wanted to reduce the pay for these public defenders from $250 an hour to $15. Now, 15 is minimum wage right now. And so that is unlivable, especially in a place like Alberta, right? That is unlivable wage. You cannot make that much money and expect to survive. So needless to say, all the public defenders are like, you can't pay us this and expect us to defend people for basically free. I mean, that's exactly what happened in where my brother lived. Their pay was reduced from a reasonable wage for a lawyer to pittance, $25, $30 an hour. Now I cry me a river, but you know what? If you earn it, you earn it, right? And lawyers, love them or hate them, are needed to run a lot of things. So I don't begrudge them earning I don't begrudge them their money. So long story short, the more nefarious thing is that you have all this crime and all these things, and you have all these police rounding up all these criminals, but nobody's there to charge them. Nobody's there to defend. People are there to charge them. You have the Department of Justice, and you have the Attorney General, and all that kind of stuff. But there's no public defenders, right? Now, if you think about it for a bit, it's kind of nefarious, and like this is full tinfoil hat, black pill, whatever you want to call it. It kind of makes you go, huh? If you really want to let the career criminals out and you have no public defenders because a career criminal is not going to have $250 an hour to consult with a lawyer, and a minimum of, for preparing for a defense for something like murder or whatever is going to be several hours worth of work, not to mention combing through evidence and building a case, and all that kind of stuff is going to be a lot of work. Okay, so a public defender will do the bare ass minimum to get this to trial. Okay, but if you have no public defenders, guess what? You got no trial. And so I think it's a very devious plan by the deeper state. Remember, we talked about this on our last video. The deeper state carefully and systematically destroying the defenders' offices and the public defenders, and what, because nobody wants to. I wouldn't want to, if I was earning $250 in the private sector versus 10, 15, 30, whatever it is in the public sector, forget you, buddy pal. I'm going to do private practice. And the people that really want to be defended will pay my wage, right? Which is exactly what these public defenders are doing. They're like, forget you. I can go, I don't need this abuse from all these ne'er-do-wells. I can go and get this done privately. So I think it's a pretty sneaky thing that is going on. Is like, you have, like I said, you have the deep earth state that's just carefully picking apart little threads here and there, and making sure that all the public defenders are nowhere to be found. You have the police officers doing their job, but then the criminals just get released back into the public because they have got no place, they've got no trial, they've got nowhere to go, and so there you go. Crime just goes up, and the rest, as I say, is history. So anyway, that's my doom and gloom for the morning. Until next time, that's it. That's all. There is no more.